Shenzhen skyline is growing rapidly and is regarded as one of the best in the world. The city currently has over 23 buildings going well over 200 meters in height.
The tallest building in Shenzhen is now the King Kli 100. Funny enough, has 100 floors full of office and hotel spaces.
It's not only the tallest building in Shenzhen, but one of the tallest in all of southern China. Hey, let's let them see for themselves. Welcome back, everyone, to the Intel Extreme Masters Season 10.
Really close to you,
in Shenzhen. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Sorry, I was really close. I mean, we had such a great time casting. We did just.
You know, pipe down, Sean.
Sorry.
We gotta keep it a little bit calm and whatnot. But we are down to the last match of the round of 16. One spot left in the quarterfinals, and you know it's been pretty lighthearted so far with the players, and of course we have fun with them here at the desk and whatnot. But not anymore. I mean, for the last two playing on stage right now, it all comes down to this. One's going to go back to their hotel room tonight and thinking, all right, I just got to rest well for tomorrow. One's going to go back and just not feel great about this weekend.
Or we have a Brazilian in the quarterfinals or a Chinese player in the quarterfinals.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
come on, man. The glass is half full.
Well, I didn't mean that the glass is half empty. It's always half full for someone out of this match, Sean. One person goes back with their glass half full for sure. But yeah, you're a good point. You know, we will have representation from either China or Brazil in the quarterfinals. Of course, for the local fans here, I mean, they probably are holding on a lot of hope for Shai, actually, with Jim and Simon both getting knocked out in Group C. That is a bit unfortunate for them that they had to both be in the same group. But Shai, the last hope for China.
Yeah, and I mean, he looked good, actually, in his series against Parting. A little bit unfortunate. We already went over it. Maybe not that familiar with the map.
Right.
Sure, he won't be making a mistake like that in TvT. This is a big opportunity for him, but we're not hyping the hometown hero over here, and he actually has no chance. Like, I think this is a very tough one to call. And I think some diehard fans would even say that Shai is the favorite going up against Kelazhur. Then again, Kelazhur, I would say, has maybe more experience on an international level, but we're in China, and here Shai definitely has way more experience.
It's really hard to call which player is going to go through. For me, it's as straight as a 50-50. I have no idea which one's going to win this.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree. I mean, seeing all the matches, sure, we said, like, Group A, it looks probably one of the closer groups and whatnot, but when it comes down to one match, just given the fact that it's not even the fact that, you know, like, some fans don't know Shai very well, some fans don't know Kelazhur very well. It's not about what the community thinks, just given what they've shown us so far.
And they haven't really, I mean, these players haven't really shown us too much yet, though. They've kind of flexed their muscles against the weaker player who was always going to struggle in this tournament, Bystalk, right? So they've both beaten him, and they both lost to Parting. So it's kind of weird to know exactly where they are right now, and this is going to be the first and proper true test they'll have.
Yeah, it will be, and it does come down to that. I mean, there's a lot riding on the line at this point. You lose here, and you lose out on a complete chance to not only win this weekend, go to Katowice. But if you win here, you can still have that hope alive, and that serves obviously as positive motivation going forward, et cetera, et cetera. It's always a positive chain, right?
Yeah.
And the way that IEM tournaments work as well, like, it's such a thin line between being eliminated in the group stage or maybe having an okay drawing for yourself in the quarterfinals, and then suddenly you have a semi-final appearance at the Intel Extreme Masters. Like, that is something that you can talk about for years, you know, like, well, he made it to the semi-finals at Intel Extreme Masters Shenzhen 2015, so extremely big best of three, because one good matchup for you in the quarters, and then suddenly you have a run of a lifetime. You know, for either of these two, that would be the run of a lifetime.
That's true.
Yeah, you got to think of the first place players that we have from Group A, B, and C, though, that these guys would be going up against. So
it's,
either way, it's going to be a brutal match in the quarterfinals, but it's just
true.
I feel that this, for both of them, getting to the quarterfinals is the success of this tournament. Anything better than that is going to be, you know, that's wonderful. That's better than they could have imagined for.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, for instance, Snoot has won his group. Didn't Kelazhur knock Snoot out of the round of 32?
I was just going to say, what's the matchup record between Kelazhur and Snoot? Because that would be one heck of a quarterfinal matchup if we got that.
Possible draw.
Kelazhur knocked him out, right? Like, we casted that together, or, well, you were hosting, but...
And you were casting.
Yeah. No, but that happened, right? Or am I confusing Kelazhur right now with someone else?
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, we'll have to double check on that. But either
Roddy's
way,
memory is usually pretty good, so
Yeah,
I would start to trust him there.
Yeah, if I had to choose, I would choose Roddy's memory over most other people's that we have here.
But like the point is then that if Kelazhur wins this series, there is a chance he goes up against Snoot.
Right.
And then actually, he has a series where he could maybe make it to the semifinals with Intel Extreme Masters. And that is such a damn big result. Like, I've never made it in my career. Never gonna make it either.
Neither have I,
I've
neither has
accepted
he.
Well, not yet.
Accepted it.
I haven't made it yet.
Neither is
but
Pig or
we don't know
Artosis.
yet. We don't know. I'm not saying that I'm never going to make it. I just haven't yet. I like to keep my
No,
options
you're never
open.
going to make it, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Okay,
You
let's
think
be
that
very
this
real.
prestigious tournament, the Inter-Extreme Masters, you can get a top 4 in one of the esport competitions?
Well, we don't know
Warcraft
what
4.
games. We don't know what. Yeah, we don't know what games are coming out in the future.
Warcraft 4.
Sean, how many times have you seen me play any game?
0, and that's
Zero.
a,
All right.
that's
no,
a really bad track
no
record,
proof.
Joe, bro.
No proof. Objection sustained. That's it.
But that's not a good thing for you, Chobra.
Well, maybe I just like to keep my strats secret. You know.
he's one of these.
Chobra's one of those faceless Koreans. He's going to appear from nowhere and win this tournament.
No, I might probably not even
All
try.
right, Chobra, you can compete in a hosting tournament at the Inter-Extreme Masters and you might get top 4.
Maybe.
You know,
Maybe.
if you-
I mean, if you're on the pool, though, so you have to host that tournament for me to have a chance. If you host it, I think I can get top 4.
Well, I think me and Red have already taken top 2, so you're not going to get close to there. I'm thinking of a third host for the Inter-Extreme Masters. I mean, we have to go back a couple of years. You know, maybe Too Good can spring him to third place.
All right.
You might get 4th.
All right.
Then again, Day9's done an Inter-Extreme Masters hosting, so you might drop down to 5th.
Oh, man.
So-
That's some tough competition out there.
All jokes aside, though, Sean, Kelazhur or Shy?
You making me choose?
Yeah. I kind of want to know who you're leaning towards because
All
I
right.
really have no idea.
I want to flip something.
No, you can't flip. Just think about it. Like, make a legit, educated guess. I know that you think it's going to be very close, but life or death scenario. Who do you think has the upper edge here?
You know, Sean, do you need some time? Do you need some time to think about this?
No, I've already chosen. Why are you
Okay.
trying to interrupt me, Chobra?
Who is it?
Shy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, I'm still leaning slightly towards Kelazhur.
So, I love how Roddy starts this out by saying, I have no idea. I want to know what you
No,
think,
no.
Sean. And then you say, Sean, he's like, well, I'm actually...
honestly
I
with the
mean,
other
this is
guy.
not like one of these predictions where I have a very good feeling
Right,
about it.
right.
Like yesterday, you turned more advancing, I had a very good feeling about it.
Right,
Stuff like
right.
that. This is more just like, if I really have to choose, then
Right, it's like a
maybe
vibe,
yeah,
that-
exactly. But
Okay, I can hear you. Well, now that you guys are 50-50, I won't throw my opinion in there because we don't want to be skewed here on the desk. We want to keep it fair.
Roddy can just buy me dinner when Shy goes through, that's all.
Well, you guys
right.
never want to join me for dinner anyway. I've been dreaming about hot pot for days, and you guys literally took me out of a hot pot restaurant. I was so happy. I've been excited about this for days.
I didn't. Chobra didn't. Pig didn't. It's the vegetarian of the group that did.
I was so
Oh,
sad.
you saved me there. I thought you were going to put me... I thought you were going to throw me under the bus again today.
Chobra, I have not thrown you under the bus once today. Let's be honest here.
Not a single time, of course. My best friend, Apollo, would never throw me under the bus.
OGN buddies for life, man.
That's true. Yeah, we have a long history.
So, do you think it's an advantage that there are more games out there from Kelazhur than there are from Shy? Because I think even if we would try right now, it would be very hard to find some, TvTs from the last few months of Shy. And I feel TvT is a matchup where information is pretty damn important.
Do you think that there is time enough for one of these players,
Nah, but-
notably, I guess Shy, since he wasn't the last to play, to go and search for VODs in time?
It's not about the last 20
No,
minutes. It's
no, I
more
don't
about
think
the
so.
last 2 weeks.
Do
Like,
you think
Right.
he's prepared for that, though?
yeah, they were in
I
the
think
same
he
group
could've.
all along, right? Shy and Kelazhur.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I was Shy, I look at that group and be like, well, Potting is probably going to win it. I could take a look at a couple of his
Yeah.
games, but his micro is godlike. That's probably going to make the difference. There's a very big chance that it's going to be me versus Kelazhur.
And we were talking to Kelazhur. Like Kelazhur agrees, Shy playing very clean. He does give a lot of respect to Shy. So we'll have to find out. But you know what we like to do at the Intel Extreme Masters? We like...
troll because it's a Carmack tournament.
That's number one.
I really feel we need Carmack over here.
We like to do
You're
this,
starting to
Carmack,
go out of
right?
control,
Here's what
Sean.
we're gonna do.
I'm not out of
We're
control.
gonna build suspense to find out if Karma can finally make it in before we start the next match. And to build that suspense, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have the very last match of Group D ready for all of you guys. Welcome back. You've all been waiting for this moment. We are ready to start getting into that last match. Of course, we want to talk a little bit about the players. We want to make sure they're all settled in. Make sure you guys know who's playing. It is Kelazhur versus Shy. In case you're just tuning in. Hey, some people are just tuning in, just waking up at a weird hour. But
I thought you left all these guys on the cliff, the suspense you made us go through before that break.
I just like to toy with people's minds.
I thought he's going to drop a knowledge bomb. He's like, Kelazhur is actually from Brazil. Bam.
Did you know
What?
that Kelazhur is actually from Brazil?
Did you know that two worlds collide very often on Echo?
Did you know that Shenzhen used to be a fishing village?
I did actually.
You did?
I learned that yesterday, but Kelazhur is not interested in the fish here. He's interested
Man, that last
in
name.
going to
Well,
that quarter.
Kelazhur's a bit of a shark, so if I was him, I would be interested in the fish.
Well, you know, actually, if I was Kelazhur, I'd be interested in the big fish like Hero, partying, frying them in this tournament, going to the final. That would be a big goal of mine. But Kelazhur right now, not thinking about any of that. He talked about how he was a little bit tilted and whatnot. Of course, you know, we saw it. He mentioned it. You know, he lifted his command centers and whatnot. Kind of going a little bit off kilter.
In 10-year history of the Intel Extreme Masters, has a Brazilian player ever made it to the quarterfinals in an RTS game? I don't think so. Even in the IEMs in Sao Paulo, I don't think we ever had a Brazilian in the top 8.
Yeah.
No, not in StarCraft 2 at least.
And in Warcraft 3, like, we had a couple
don't know
of good
about Warcraft
players.
3.
We had Skyward and Pado, but I don't think they ever had D bronze in the Intel Extreme
Well,
Masters.
So no, is the answer.
There you go. I mean, hey,
Esports history is being made over here, Tasteless.
That's
Nick Plot,
true.
Nick Plot, Nick Plot.
yeah, I mean, hey, Kelazhur, we didn't even think about that, but Kelazhur moving onward is a pretty big landmark, not just for himself, but for his entire region. Of course, on the other side, we do have Shy representing China. Now, of course, China's had a pretty good showing here and there in the Intel Extreme Masters, but what's surprising is right now we are in China, we're in Shenzhen, and he's actually the only one left.
He is the only one left, and he'd be following in the footsteps of Jim, who did get to a top 4 last year in Shenzhen exactly. But you know, Shy's got a difficult game to go, and an even more difficult quarterfinal if he was to make it versus Kelazhur.
Yeah, it will be a pretty... I mean, either one, you go to the quarterfinals. I think at this point, any matchup you get is going to be a battle against Titans in the round of 8.
A lot of wins in this matchup really come from the early aggression, and who's very good at being aggressive and who's very good at defending that aggression. A lot of Terran versus Terran, they either finish really, really fast, or they go on for a very long time once you get past that stage.
I think Kelazhur is going to be the aggressor this series, and I think he's going to try to look for openings, which is funny because normally the Chinese Zergs, they are the aggressors, but I think Shy is going to be a little more passive, and Kelazhur, he's going to try to dictate the pace of the series. And I hope for Diego that it's going to be enough, but we might just have the hometown hero advance.
Did you see what Graham did then? I think that's awesome. It was like the official beginning of the game. He's like, the doors are open, he walks out into the middle of the stage and closes the doors for the players. He's like, begin.
There we go. Well, they are both locked into their boosts. The only way they're climbing out is if they can either get that win or they get knocked out by their opponent. Kelazhur versus XY, Brazil versus China. Final match for the last spot in the round of 8, brought to you by Pig and Artosis.
It's time, guys. Last match of the group phase. Who's going to win it?
Kelazhur, he's going to be the final player going through into the top 8.
Shy is going to win it. Let's get into the game, and we will show you why Shy is going to win this game. Maybe not this game, but the series.
First of all, he's going to have to make it through this guy spawning down here on the right-hand side of Coder. It is Kelazhur.
Quite a good player. A little bit nervy today, I think.
I think he's still quite fresh to big events. He's kind of catapulted onto the world stage very quickly. Needs some time.
Root has helped him out a lot with that.
And he is going up against the Chinese Terran, a formidable opponent in the blue Terran here. It is Shy.
Very good. I know you're struggling with calling him Shy.
Yep, for
You know what that's like.
a long time playing against Shy in tournaments. I used to always call him XY.
Yeah. That's a hard thing to break. That's the whole Hydra thing. I knew him for years before I talked to him in person, you know? It's what you call him in your head when you're sitting at your computer all alone.
It sticks.
It does.
These guys, they come up with these names, and then commentators from esports, they just come and change it up on them.
That's right.
Lilbo is the most recent victim that comes to mind for me.
Lil Bo.
Yep. Lil Bow, he insisted on for a long time, eventually gave up.
It's Lil Bo.
He's like, no, it's really bad. It's like, yo, Bow Wow, you know, Lil Bow. And then everyone's like, no,
that's
Lil
way
Bo.
worse than Lil Bo.
You've got like a cute little, bow on his head or something like that.
That's what I always thought.
Of course, hopping into this game, it is a big TvT match coming up. And XY, Shy, opening up with that gas first. Of course, it's Coda. Pretty close spawns. A Banshee can get across there pretty fast. So this is actually a very popular TvT opening on this map.
Yeah, not too surprised to see it, but Kelazhur said that he does have some special builds, some special strategies ready here for Shy. I'm very interested to see what those will be, but overall I feel like Shy has been playing pretty darn well and collected today, whereas Kelazhur was even saying, he's like, God, I don't feel like I'm playing so well. And that's why I'm leaning towards Shy here. You know, this morning before the day started, I was like, oh yeah, I think, you know, Kelazhur, very good chance of getting through, but I don't know, Kev.
Shy is an impressive player. Of course, if only my name was actually Kev, I could give some more thoughts on that. But really, Shy is a player who, like I said before, when we were analyzing his first match, he's so underrated because we don't get to see him that much. But he's actually a fantastic player, and he's had these runs in online cups where he's been like, whoa, he's killed so many good players in a row, and he really has this very unique way of playing. He's it's not something you see very often with Terran. Sometimes you get these tricky Protoss or tricky Zerg players, but it's very rare you see a Terran player that has this ultra unique style of playing. Usually they play very much within the set meta.
Yeah. It's a very good point. You know, I think that has a lot to do with like the mechanics of races and just the way that they have to be macro. But it's a discussion maybe for another time. We do see, in fact, both players going for starports. Of course, Shy's going to be a little bit quicker here. Already has a Widow Mine out and starting to produce Hellions as well. Does look like he wants to go for a Hellion plus a Medevac type of play. Maybe drop the Marines, run the Hellions in.
There is that nice ledge where Kelazhur's Marines are standing right now, which is a very good spot to elevator. And the openings can really be very, very volatile in TvT. Shy, of course, with the gas burst, is going to get this across the map very, very quickly. And often what you see is a sort of 1-2 punch. If you can drop the Hellions in there, they can start running circles around the base, and the Marines can get elevated in later. Or they can simply push up the ramp at the front and try to take down that depot wall.
Well, looks like he has loaded up 6 Marines and a Widow Mine into this Medevac. Speeding across the map right now, Kelazhur. Being very careful with the placement of his Marines, waiting for any such drops to come in.
Kelazhur actually playing really safe right now, going for a Raven, but that's not going to help too much immediately against a Widow Mine, 6 Marines and a Medevac coming up here. Is this Medevac going to catch him out? Looks like it is going to drop in safely into the back. His Marines are close by, but are they enough to take this on?
Well, let's see. He brings his Marines up for the time being. Has some SCVs going up as well. And it looks like actually the Widow Mine hits a mule there. So I guess one of the worst targets he really could have gotten.
Does keep all those units alive for now, though. That Widow Mine can get uprooted and used later. There are still 6 Marines here in that Medevac. Meanwhile, Shy is expanding behind this a little bit quicker than Kelazhur. Picking back up here, microing around, just being as irritating as possible, but it looks like Kelazhur has managed to push it out.
Yeah, even throws down an auto turret there. Does a little bit more damage to that Medevac, but it does get out of there for sure. Of course, that Raven helping him to clear out that Widow Mine as well.
At the end of that, who do you think's ahead there? Because looking at the supply, Shy's in quite a good position. He is up a couple of workers, but I do feel like Kelazhur's going towards that tank count, and he's already got that Raven out, so I feel like maybe it's quite even. What do you think, Dan?
Well, I have to say, I think that we have to see a little push from Kelazhur to make it even in the way that you're saying, yeah, he has the better units, but he has to do something with them. For instance, if he just sits at home from here, I think Shy has a lead. But yeah, Kelazhur has the types of units he needs to walk across the map and get some of that counter damage in. I think right there is going to be where we can really see this game take form.
Interestingly, already 3 Vikings out for Shy. Kelazhur is producing Vikings 2 at a time, trying to catch up. If he is going to make use of that tank superiority, he's going to need to have that air superiority to get in there. But look at this, Shy coming in, sneaky 3 Viking attack, raid,
wow, kills
a Viking for free and gets out of there. What a nice move.
That is a fantastic move, to just fly across the map with your Vikings to kill one of his Vikings. I mean, that's like demoralizing for Kelazhur here, I have to say, to lose something like that. But we see Shy coming here with a Medevac and some Marines now. Is this a bit of an overcommittal? I think it would be.
It's nice to kind of just pressure there. As long as Shy doesn't overcommit, this is okay. If he goes into that position, though, those tanks and Marines are going to shred him. Just playing with his units a little bit, putting the pressure on, no harm in that. And if he can keep this Medevac over here, it does cause passive threat to Kelazhur. As we said, Kelazhur needs to be getting across the map and doing something with his tank superiority, with this Raven. Oh, that's a nice pickup.
Yeah, you see, this was like a little bit unneeded, I would say. I don't mind him flying around and poking in here and there, but Kelazhur is sitting there with all his units. Being able to pick that up is a pretty big deal, but still the economy advantage going pretty heavily over to Shy with that faster second CC and 9 more SCVs.
A good economy lead, and now getting his own siege tanks out defensively. Kelazhur still sitting tight on his side of the map, looking very much in a turtle-ish mindset. I feel like I can interpret from this that Kelazhur is feeling like he wants to just defend, macro up, and get to the mid-game, perhaps feeling like he's a superior player. He said in the interview before, I've got some tricks up my sleeves, but so far he's been very defensive.
Yeah, he hasn't really done that much. He hasn't been able to mix it up on Shy's side of the map, but the type of army he has, the amount of money he's putting into it before he builds more production facilities tells me he has to do an attack. Like, what are you doing with all these units? You must go over there and at least poke a bit and see if you can get some damage, and that looks like what he's doing right now.
Looks like he is moving across. He's going to get this one Viking that was guarding the watchtower. He is down one Viking here, but he can drop a point defense drone. Oh, very nice. Blocking so many Viking shots there. Trades one Viking for 2 of Shy's.
Oh, Shy out of position right now with these siege tanks. He's going to have to get out of there. He cannot be losing them right now against 4 siege tanks up Kelazhur. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. In fact, losing all his Vikings now as well. A huge blunder here from Shy, pushing forward with his SCVs as well.
Such a huge move from Kelazhur, taking out one of the siege tanks, so many SCVs going down, and a lot of the Marines. A very nice poke in there from Kelazhur, taking a favorable trade and just pulling back, not wanting to sacrifice any of his expensive units.
Well, this is kind of what you were talking about before, Pig, when you're saying, oh, it looks pretty even because of those extra units that Kelazhur has, and he used them very well, and I mean, he did a good job. He killed a lot of SCVs. He has an economic advantage, but he's a bit behind on upgrades, isn't he?
Yeah, those upgrades are about to start kicking in for Shy. Combat Shields is on the way. +1 is on the way as well. But losing some add-ons, a very nice abuse of this siege tank positioning. Something you've always got to watch out for on this map. And even Combat Shields is in range of one of those siege tanks. This is a lot of damage Kelazhur is doing.
Yeah, it certainly is. But he has stim right now, and he's bringing his units up. He could definitely get some damage done here.
Whoa, Shy, not even going for the flank, just going right past. This is a really ballsy maneuver. This could really catch Kelazhur by surprise, but it's not that many units.
Yeah.
If Kelazhur pulls SCVs quickly, doesn't really lose his siege tanks immediately, if he can stop this is going to be fantastic for him.
Yeah, if he's defensive about this and doesn't take a ton of damage right this second, it's going to be great. But these Marines stim in, target down that siege tank in a matter of seconds as well, take down a Viking, and they're going to be able to kill some Marines and SCVs as well. A great move here from Shy.
Oh, the SCV's going in, but there's just no DPS behind them, losing so many. His army's desperately trying to get back across the map. 12 SCVs already going down. This army is getting sacrificed. It's about to be sandwiched, but it is going to kill so many SCVs on the way out.
Yeah, he will end up losing these units, but that doesn't matter. He always knew he would, but the amount of damage they have done is gigantic. In fact, oh my god, new mules being dropped down, and one will even be killed. Ooh.
That is huge. At the end of it, though, he's only up about 5 workers. Shy equalizing a lot there, and of course having a big unit advantage now, not so far ahead in the economy. Part of that comes back to, of course, Kelazhur was investing even heavier in his economy behind this. He has his 3rd orbital starting now. He has a lot of siege tanks, but it's what you were talking about earlier, Dan. He does not have those upgrades yet.
Yeah.
Stim is just starting. He's only just got his 5 barracks production up. He's got great infrastructure, but he's not quite there just yet. He cannot get on the map for quite a while.
You know, he even got double eBay a while ago. Hasn't started those upgrades. We see Shy is going ahead and getting his +1 armor with already having +1 attack. So it looks like Kelazhur is trying to gear up for like a very strong macro game, but he can't move out on the map for so long that Shy is in complete control.
Oh, very good defensive siege tank positioning here from Kelazhur. Shy coming in, trying to force his way into this army. His siege tanks falling very quickly. Beautiful focus fire from Kelazhur, and that was an amazing cleanup.
Yeah, that was a blunder indeed from Shy. These guys are not pulling any punches right now, really going for each other's throats nonstop. You know, I feel like that was like a really wasteful move. Yeah, like what if Shy just says, okay, well, I have stim, I'm just going to not let you take a 3rd base. You know, that I feel like that would have been a really quality move from him, whereas right here, Kelazhur now, after killing off that big of an army, he can make a strong move out here and take his 3rd.
Oh, this is a nice drop, though. Getting a little bit of damage done there, Shy. But I couldn't agree with you more, Artosis. If he still had those siege tanks up, those Marines, he'd have a great contain on Kelazhur right now. Of course, he is still in the game. He's still got those superior, faster upgrades. But Stim is about to kick in for Kelazhur. His 1-1 is now on the way. His armory is about to finish. All of his infrastructure is starting to come together. Kelazhur now looking to get back out on the map and get a bit more presence. He needs to secure this third and stop Shy dictating the positioning.
Yeah, you know, these guys are pretty even right now. You can see that in the supplies. All their upgrades are about to line up as well. But we have a lot more siege tanks for Kelazhur. So at least on the defense for now, he's in a very strong spot.
That is a scary tank formation. Oh, a Marine drop coming in on top of that. Oh, huge Marine drop right on top of the siege tanks. This is a great move from Shy. A beautiful trade, taking out 6 tanks in the blink of an eye.
Indeed it was. That was gigantic from Shy. That was some killer instinct that we saw right there. He just channeled Jim into taking that spot out. And that means the third base has to fly away once again. But Kelazhur with a counter drop there at the third base of Shy.
Oh, the orbital goes down. Kelazhur loses his third base in a horrible flash of bad luck. But he is going to take down Shy's at the same time if Shy doesn't get over there soon.
Well, it looks like he's taking a lot of damage. We do have some SCVs, Marines, and siege tanks coming in, so it looks like he will save that command center, so that's good. But in the meantime, we have a huge army outside Kelazhur's base. Will Shy try to break in here? Where are the siege tanks? Only on the high ground.
Oh, that is coming in with a huge push. A lot of Shy's Marines stuck in the back there, but he just has the superior count coming in here and doing massive damage, forcing Kelazhur to engage into him. Kelazhur's army is trying to hang on, but it just seems like there's too many Marines.
Yeah, in fact, he takes down that command center in a huge burst of damage from his Stim Marines. Backs up as well, and Kelazhur is on his last legs.
Oh, our Brazilian Terran player feeling the heat here, feeling the pressure. He is in a lot of trouble, and in desperation now, he knows he needs to do something fantastic. He needs to do something amazing to get back in this game. With only one base mining, he's picked up his entire army. He's trying to sneak around the edge of that map. He feels maybe in a base trade, if I can get on top of the production, I can win this game. He feels like that's his only chance, and I think it really, really is the smart move now.
Yeah, I definitely do have to agree with you. But is that enough? Does he actually have enough in those medevacs to finish this game off? I find it very questionable indeed, but right now we do have Shy coming in, has way more units, and starting the base trade first, so really looking to favor Shy here.
Oh, Shy's just getting in on top of everything. He just has so much more damage output here. Everything is dying so fast for Kelazhur. Kelazhur does not have any fallback point. He has no siege tanks, no extra Marines out, and he's doing a bit of damage to Shy's, picking away at it, but Kelazhur's base is already in tatters.
Certainly it is. A lot of damage on both sides, with double the supply right now for our Chinese Terran. Really looking like he should be able to take this, but I guess we'll see in a moment. Kelazhur with no command centers left, not enough money to even build one again, just floating away his buildings. And at the end of the day, if we look at the actual unit counts, just way too much for Shy as Kelazhur taps out. GG. And China takes game number 1.
What a wild game one that was. So much back and forth. I think we both felt Shy was being a little bit over-aggressive at some points, but at the end, his decisiveness just was so powerful.
Yeah, it certainly was. You know, Kelazhur made some very fantastic moves, but at the end of the day, the kind of bloodthirsty moves of Shy just paid off, especially that big drop on top of the siege tanks of Kelazhur.
Diego's going to need to pull into deep of himself to get back in this. Stay with us, guys. We'll find out right after a very, very short break. Welcome back to IEM Season 10's first stop of the year here in Shenzhen, China. We are having an amazing day here, Artosis. How are you going, mate?
Oh, I'm going fantastically, Pig. This is a lot of fun down here. A lot of excited fans, as you see. The last Chinese player left in the tournament right now, with his life on the line. If Kelazhur can win 2 in a row here, he will be out, but Shy played very well in that last game, won that game pretty decisively there at the end. Kelazhur put up a good fight, though, so I don't want to call him completely out, but the way he was talking in his last interview, he's not playing that well today. For some reason, he's not feeling it, and Shy seems to be feeling it.
It was kind of a crazy back and forth game there. I felt like Shy really had that momentum with him, and at times he was over-aggressive, but it felt almost like Diego Kelazhur, we can see he looks a bit crushed there. It felt like he was sitting back a little bit too much and not really giving himself any room for error. I felt like Shy, on the other hand, was saying, I'm going to keep attacking and I'm going to keep poking and looking for advantage. And then there was that one huge slip-up where there was no support for all those siege tanks. Shy was so decisive at getting on top of it, and it was a beautiful move from Shy. You can see him there, very calm, very focused. He wants to perform in front of this Chinese audience.
Of course. And as well, he is one of the older pro gamers at 28 years old. So, you know, it's hard to get into these tournaments. He's finally getting pretty deep here in an Intel Extreme Masters. He'd like nothing more than to go really far in his home turf. I can't talk.
We all get tongue-tied at times, Dan. We are going to go into Game 3 now. Game 2, here on Cactus Valley between Kelazhur and Shy.
Let's do it, Pig. Let's get in that game.
Spawning here on the upper right-hand side of Cactus Valley, it is Root Gaming's Kelazhur. Looking to recover after a very hard Game 1 there.
Indeed he is.
And his opponent, spawning down here in the bottom left-hand side, is the home ground champion. It is Shy.
Now, it should be mentioned that Shy won the Chinese qualifier. So that's pretty good, man. There's quite a few strong Chinese players, as we've seen.
It's actually very difficult to make it through those qualifiers. There's a lot of players who, whilst they might not be the favorites to take it out, they really can throw a lot of curveballs at you. It does show a lot of consistency to make it through there.
Well, I'm excited to see, can he take down Kelazhur here? I really actually wouldn't mind seeing Shy play against, you know, like Hero or Parting going forward if he does make it into the next round, because he did show some fantastic TVP before, but is his TvT as good? I don't know. I mean, it was a reasonable game against Kelazhur. He did well, but he overextended a few times, right?
It was hard to call that a sort of perfect game, and if he does come up against a harder TvT opponent, or maybe if Kelazhur pulls his game together, I think it could have gone a different way. Of course, Shy himself, no doubt, feeling nerves. This is the final match to see who gets that last spot in the round of 8. It's a coveted spot, and when it gets to this point, you've had a long day, you've played quite a few matches, you can start to get a bit nervous, start to get a bit tired, and I think what we're seeing now, more than anything, is a battle of how composed these two players can stay and how focused they can. As these tournaments go on, and it's often not necessarily about having prepared sniping builds for every player. It's more about how well you can perform and how well you can get your basics going and your general builds.
Yeah, well, they're doing the same build to open here, so I think that this might be a big window into how each of them are dealing with that situation right now that you just described.
Looking to get on the aggressive with the gas first, trying to put that pressure on. It gives a lot of momentum. There's something to be said for trying to put that force on your opponent. A lot of players in StarCraft 2, if you talk to them, they'll always say it's easier to attack than defend. Your opponent has to react to you, especially when you're in that high pressure situation. It can be so hard to react in multiple areas. One of the first things that goes when you get tilted, you get a bit upset or off your game, is your mini-map awareness, your multitasking. So in these high pressure situations, I think both of these guys looking to go for this early aggression and go try and put their opponent on the back foot.
Yeah, and it looks like they're doing it in slightly different ways here. Despite opening gas first, both of them, we do have the later starport here from Kelazhur, but he's going ahead and grabbing a reactor instead of additional Marines that we see out of Shy, so he's definitely going to be able to pump out more factory units here in just a moment.
A little bit more infrastructure there. Most likely going to be going for that Hellion production, which leads us to believe probably one of those medevac Hellion Marine builds, similar to what Shy actually did in the previous game. However, Shy this time around still building a Widow Mine after the single Hellion, actually looking very similar.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. I really like any build that goes Reactor Hellion early on, to be honest. I think Hellion's just such a nice early game unit, so maybe this is one of those builds that Kelazhur was talking about that he has ready. Making more and more Hellions at the moment. He does have a medevac on the way. Of course, these guys very far from each other.
Only just scouting now with the Hellions. Kelazhur is looking for him. He's saying, where are you? This actually reminds me quite a bit of the old days. You might remember maybe about 2011 when QXC was playing over there and had some amazing TvTs against some powerhouses in GSTL. There was a lot of mass Hellion battles in TvT back then.
Certainly there were good old days right there. Well, we do see that the medevac flies directly over the watchtower. The quickest way across the map, of course, is in a straight line. But that means that Kelazhur can kind of get ready for it.
Well, he is sending his Hellions across the map, not bringing them home, seeing if he can defend with as little forces as possible, while his Hellions are actually walled out of Shy's base. Shy, meanwhile, trying to abuse this ramp area, seeing if he can outrange these depots and take them down.
Uh-oh. Oh, that Widow Mine with a huge hit, taking down, well, basically all the Marines there, and the Hellions taking so much health off of them. Giant hit there from Shy.
Oh, and the Viking going down so quickly. This is so bad for Kelazhur. So decisive from Shy. So quick to see that Widow Mine shot going off and just jumped his Marines on top of the rest of Kelazhur's force. And he's in such a good position now. This is so hard for Kelazhur.
It certainly is, but you know what? He's bringing back the rest of his Hellions now. He should be able to clean this up without any problem. I don't really imagine this doing much more damage.
That Widow Mine, though, just being so annoying, zoning these Hellions out.
Yeah.
Kelazhur just doesn't want to sacrifice a Hellion into this, so his Hellions are sort of trapped flanking around this, and this is just such a distracting maneuver from Shy that makes it so hard for Kelazhur to macro properly, to drop mules, and Shy, meanwhile, has got no pressure on him here. He is macroing well back home, spending all his money, transitioning into Cloaked Banshees. This is a great spot.
And another good Widow Mine hit as well on Kelazhur. Oh, the absolutely painful. Wait a minute. Did Shy really? Did he?
He even picked that Widow Mine up and got it out of there.
That Widow Mine.
Oh,
hey.
That is going to be the hero of this game. I think it's going to come back for more as well. He says, I haven't had enough. I'm not done yet. That is the Arnold Schwarzenegger of Widow Mines, man.
That isn't a Widow Mine. That's a Widow's Mine.
It has nothing left to live for. It's just here to inflict pain. Oh, Kelazhur does get on top of it, though. A nice cleanup. The Viking coming in here will finally get rid of this drop. But at what cost?
At what cost, indeed. That's a great way to phrase that, Pig. You know, I do like the fact that Shy is going into those Cloaked Banshees. Always a strong unit in TvT. You know, some of the best players in the world, like Mario, we see him just rally across the map over and over those Cloaked Banshees, always finding some damage somewhere. Now, Kelazhur, yeah, he doesn't really have a whole lot against us, to be honest. He made a single Viking only, and I don't even see any missile turrets ready for him.
He actually had a second Viking about to pop, and he's cancelled it. Decided to do other things with his money, make some add-ons instead. No engineering bay on the way at all. He's just starting it now, and those Banshees are coming in, forcing out the scan.
Oh, no.
That isn't going to kill it. There's no more energy for scan right now.
This is just brutal. Shy absolutely destroying so far in this game, getting value all over the place. But hold on, we have a nice drop here by Kelazhur, and we don't see any defense.
Oh, the SCVs are lining up. Kelazhur trying to get on top of that. He needs to chase those SCVs down. The Marines coming in. Just picks up a couple of SCV kills for now, but that's all still alive. This is good counter pressure. Kelazhur needs to do this to keep the pressure off him back home.
Well, back home right now, this Banshee has 9 kills going after CJ Stout, but in the meantime, these Hellions coming back in. Let's see how many they can get. 5 kills right there.
Oh, this is great pressure from Kelazhur, but the Viking does shoot it down with all 4 Hellions inside. Keep in mind, that Banshee actually killed multiple siege tanks in Kelazhur's base while that was happening. He didn't kill a single SCV because he was busy defending at home, but it ended up killing very high-value targets nonetheless.
Truly worth its weight in gold there. And another one does come in now, starting to pick off some Marines. Anything you can kill with this at this point is just gravy. That other Banshee was worth both of them and Cloak already.
Oh, even Hellions there, and a big force of Marine tank coming across the map. Kelazhur just doesn't have a lot of units on the ground. These Banshees are causing him so much hassle right now. With no bunker down, only a single siege tank and 6 Marines. How can he possibly stop this push?
I'm not sure that he can. His siege tank's going to be out of position. One of them actually taking a lot of damage right there, picking off more units as well. And he's actually going up to try to deal with that. But in the meantime, the attack comes in. Really bad timing there for poor Kelazhur. He's pulling these SCVs, but that is it. GG, well played. And we, in fact, do have a Chinese player making it to the round of 8.
Shy shutting down Kelazhur's tournament life there and forcing his way through. ensuring his position in the round of 8. He looks very happy for himself. The first time today we see a bit of a smile finally creep across his face. He can relax now. He's made it through the group. Really decisive play. Unfortunately, Diego falling out. His first time competing over here in China. He had a good showing. He showed some good games. Unfortunately, might be a little bit upset that he doesn't feel he lived up to his expectations today.
You know what, though? He's still an up-and-coming player. He is a guy that he got 3rd place in the North American qualifiers, which did have Korean players in him. So, I mean, that is no easy feat, as you well know yourself, Pig.
Oh yes, we all know about the gauntlet that is an IEM qualifier. Everyone wants that spot to get over here, get flown over to an exotic country, perform in front of an arena of nerds. It is much coveted for.
Well, I'm sure he's a player we're going to see more and more of in the future. I think he was a great pickup for Root, and I hope to see this Brazilian pro at many, many more events. But it looks like for now, guys, we're going to go ahead and throw it over to the desk and learn some stuff about Shy. I haven't really seen many interviews with this guy. So, Chobra, Apollo, take it away.
Thank you very much, Artosis. Yeah, we are here with Shy, who took the last but definitely not the least round of 8 spot in the quarterfinals, finally climbing through Group D. And as we go forward, I mean, I just want to ask, we talk so much about what this tournament means for everyone else. I mean, everyone has a meaning, but for Shy, I mean, he is an older gamer compared to most. He's the last remaining Chinese player. How much does this mean to go on to the bracket stage?
这项比赛对你来说意味着什么？因为您年龄比较大，然后你也是最后一位中国选手，所以你有什么感想能晋级到这项比赛的8强？
因为我是IEM 就是中国区出线的嘛，就我的话，我觉得代表中国最强的吧，打到这个名次应该还可以，我觉得。
I'm qualifier from Chinese qualification, and I must present what I'm the strongest Chinese players. So I must to achieve this tournament to the top 8.
Does it feel very special for him to play on stage? There's a lot of people. It's kind of loud out there when he was playing. Does it feel kind of special for him to do so well?
你看到这个舞台上周围下面有这么多观众，然后你觉得有什么特别的吗？而且在主舞台打比赛，应该是这届比赛第一次吧？
对，我觉得很兴奋吧，就发挥出自己的水平了。
I'm really excited about this, and I'm trying to show what I've got,
Right.
And to do what I can.
Is this like a success here? Is this made it to the quarters? I don't know what can happen now. Is that kind of the feeling he has, or is there a lot deeper of a tournament run he'd like to achieve?
你是觉得现在已经达到了你的目标，还是觉得现在到了这个阶段，我可以继续大展身手了？
我觉得我目标的话还是4强吧，4强。
All right, he's gonna make the achievement to the top 4.
Top 4.
Okay, yeah. I mean, hey, that's pretty far. Of course, we know Jim going that for last year, so it would be a nice repeat for the Chinese fans. Now, I want to ask a little bit. We don't get too many chances to talk to the Chinese players, and oftentimes in any game, from a Western point of view, we often view Chinese players as being a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more just like not caring about the consequences and just going forward. What does Shai think about that? Does Shai think that's true about China? And why does that meta develop separately?
作为那个西方的观点来说，可能那个并不是太经常接触中国的选手，而他们看到中国选手的比赛的话，大家都是比较喜欢 all in， 或者是那种前期的比较博弈，或者说特别有侵略性的打法，并不太注意比赛的延长的那种整个对，不是，就是说并不是长时间的比赛的想法，主要是想打一波这种。你对这词有什么看法吗？然后是中国选手确实是这样打的，还是只是有什么战术性的选择？
相对，如果中国选手碰到韩国选手的话，一般都会选择前期性战术，就你刚刚说的一波的打法。就是如果碰到跟自己实力相当的欧美选手的话，应该会打一个中后期。
Usually Chinese players to battle with the Korean players. They chose the early games strategies. Maybe with foreign players like European or American players, they will go continuously.
I see. All right. Well, that's interesting. Do you have any more questions? Because I've got a few more yet.
I got the last one for
All
me.
right. Yeah, for sure.
So, once again, like you said, there's not too much chance we get to speak with a Chinese player. But the European scene right now has a lot of young talent rising up. There's a lot of very young players that are doing very well and starting to break through. And it's like a new layer of talent in the European scene. Is that something that he can see happening in China as well? Because China right now, it's not the best country or nation in StarCraft 2.
Yes, it is.
But does he foresee, I mean, he's been around for such a long time and is probably a young player himself.
Yes.
Does he foresee young talent breaking through China and China becoming a really strong nation in StarCraft in the future?
近期来说的话，欧洲选手有一批很不错的新选手的出现，然后也有一个换代的交替的换代，然后因为对中国选手确实了解不多，你觉得中国会不会有这样一批新的选手涌现出来，然后在以后的比赛中更有作为？
有的呀，有我给说几个吧。
好的。
一个是莎娜，就是还有一个 Tam， 两个人族选手都是比较年轻的一个。
He thinks there will be two of Chinese young Terran players, whose one is Shana,
Okay.
and another is Tam. They have a bright future in this game, and he thinks these two young children, young boys can do the better games.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing that, hopefully in another global tournament. Now, before we wrap up the day, there's been a lot of talk. Every interview we've had, we've focused on a lot on the Protoss players and how strong Protoss is. The community's talking about PvPs everywhere. I mean, what does Shai think? I mean, now we have 3 Terrans moving on to the quarterfinals. How does he feel as a Terran player when he probably has to play against one of these top Protoss players in the world?
这项比赛中，我们一直聊的都是神族选手。然而，现在进8强的有3位人族选手。你觉得在神族选手还有人族选手之间的博弈之间，你怎么看呢？或者是这项比赛走向会怎么样呢？
我觉得啊，人族选手如果碰到顶级的，比如讲那个 Parting，Rain，是很难战胜的。然后碰到其他的可能会好很多。
If the Terran players who met the top Protoss players like Parting or Ring, they may have a tough game. But if others, the Protoss who met the Terran players, it's gonna be a little bit better.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so, I mean, number-wise, we do have a pretty even distribution now in the round of 8, so that's exciting to hear that he agrees that, at some point it can flip either way. Well, once again, congratulations to Shai. Thank you so much for spending time here on the desk with us. Congratulations. Moving on to the round of 8, the quarterfinals. We have our brackets all set up. It's time to look at what happened in the last 2 days and what we can look forward to tomorrow. Of course, in day 3 here, we had groups C and D happening, going through all of the round of 16. Now, Group C, I mean, Hero moving on forward, of course, as expected, in a 2-0 match record. That, I think everyone saw that coming, but on the other side, Euthermal, I mean, eventually made it through, but it was a bit of a tough run, Sean.
It was going to be a 50-50 between Euthermal and Jim, who was really going to break through. And as we can see just by the graphic there, Euthermal lost the first series to come back to win the second series. So it's good to see him break through there.
Yeah, I mean, happy to hear, of course. I'm sure Roddy's very happy to see that Euthermal continue on in the bracket stage. Had a lot of high hopes for him. And now it's time to find out, of course, after we review who his opponent will be. But either way, do you think Euthermal are you still as confident in Euthermal going even further forward, or do you think he can be content with this and just try to play his heart out in the quarterfinals?
Well, I actually know who he plays in the quarterfinals. So.
Don't tease it,
I'm not saying... Well, it's actually on Liquipedia already. You guys know that, right?
But the viewers don't know that yet. Now you're spoiling it for them, bro.
I haven't said anything yet.
Okay.
So, it's very hard for me to have this speech here when I already know he's going to play, and then actually should be more in depth. So I'll answer that question in maybe 2 minutes.
All right, we'll hold off on that. I'll wait for your deep analysis there. Of course, Group D, we just went through that. Just now wrapped it up with Shai securing that second place spot. And of course, Parting coming through. He said he was a little under the weather, but I think showing the games that many fans expected to see this weekend.
Yeah, Parting just dominated. And even though he was putting his insurance out there for everyone to know that he is a little bit sick, he played great and looked great. And I'm sure he's going to do well tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
Lots of 2-0s in this group.
Lots of 2-0s in this group. Actually, all 2-0s was just a bit of a steamrolled through for all players in all of their matches. And of course, I mean, Kelazhur trying to put up a fight in that last match, but you know, I think Kelazhur maybe hit the nail on the head during his interview. He just said, well, Shai seems like he's really on point today. Kelazhur, I mean, you saw it in my games. I was a little off kilter. And Shai just playing the cleaner game at the end there in the last match, comes through, will go on into the round of 8. So now, Roddy, it's time. We're going to find out the round of 8 brackets. Not everyone knows yet. Before we go there, we do have all 8 players, of course, in the round of 16. Again, let's review. I mean, day 1, we had Lucira and TY from Group A moving on, and then Snoot going in number 1 from Group B. What a record here against Classic. I mean, he took down Reign and Classic in his matches, so the reigning champions in Korea.
Yeah,
That's still a ridiculous result. Like, you look at that and you have a really hard time believing that actually happened. You had to be there, you had to actually watch the games, because I know there were a lot of European fans who weren't awake for it and was like, well, you know, I love Snoot, but he's in a group with Reign and Classic. It's like, sorry, Jens, I need my sleep. And they wake up and they're like, how the hell did that actually happen?
And finally, the bracket, the matchups for the quarterfinals. We do have at the top, we have Hero going up against Shai, Classic versus Lucira. Parting is the opponent for Euthermal, and at the very bottom of the bracket will be TY versus Snoot. So since we brought it up earlier, let's talk a little bit about Euthermal going up against Parting. What do you think, Roddy?
That's going to be a difficult one. I do like Euthermal's TVP in general. I think it's a little bit one-dimensional. Maybe it can become a little bit predictable, but he seems to be able to adjust very well within series, at least. I always feel his first game, his second game look the same, but then he is able to adapt to the opponent's playstyle. But I mean, this is Parting, man. Like, I love Euthermal, and he's a dodgy, and you know, I'm definitely gonna sit for that series, and I'm really excited for it because I have seen him play great against Liubao, against Harstem. Yeah, I know those guys are not Parting, but if you do really well against those guys, then the next step is you want to see how well you start doing against the Partings of this world. But he's definitely an underdog, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we have been talking a lot about how the EU Pro Tosses in general these days are very strong. So his practice hopefully coming through. And of course, if you missed any of our games in the round of 16, we had some really nice games, and especially the Snoot matches. If you're a European fan, go over to Plays.tv. You'll be able to catch all the sweet highlights in our best of 3s in the round of 16. And now going forward, we don't want to talk too much about it because the matches will come tomorrow. Of course, we'll see how the players feel tomorrow. We'll have a little chat with them and whatnot. But I do want to point out again for our Western fans, if Euthermal is the underdog against Parting, what about Snoot versus TY?
He's still the underdog. No matter which way you're going to look at it, he's still the underdog. But he has a good chance to win. He's definitely got a better chance to beat TY than Euthermal has Parting. You can put it that way.
Okay, well, I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, definitely something to look forward to for our fans, of course. And both matches, maybe we have a Euthermal versus Snoot semifinal.
That would be insane.
It would be insane.
That would be insane. It's you'd have a guaranteed European in the final.
Yeah.
But that's...
yeah, that's getting a little ahead of ourselves, maybe. Just a little bit.
I mean, we should give some love to the other 2 quarterfinals as well, though. I know we don't want to make it too long, but come on, like Hero versus XY. Have you seen the Chinese audience? They're actually going crazy, man. And our commentators over here as well. They were kind of mellow all weekend. They even invited us for dinner. They seemed like quiet guys. Suddenly I hear on the corner by here, like, GG! Like, they're losing it for Shai. So I think it's going to be a pretty hype series, and he looked pretty all right against Parting. You know, 1 or 2 minor mistakes. If he tweaks on that, he might be able to give Hero a run for his money, but obviously Hero is the favorite as well.
Yeah, Heroes should be going towards the finals, where I'd be expecting overall maybe a Parting Hero finals. I think so a lot of people have been expecting anyway.
And with the trash talk, that would actually be
they are on the opposite sides. It could happen.
And then the quite other quarterfinal then, very briefly, Classic versus Lucira. I think that's just a great matchup overall. I mean,
I think that's probably like one of those most standard matchups that everyone's like, all right, anyone can look at that and say, that's probably going to be a good game. It's pretty evenly matched up. Classic versus Lucira, who's going to climb through? Any one of them losing is it's a bit of a disappointment if you're a fan, but also any one of them winning, you can't really call that one.
Yeah, it'd be great to see Lucira go through it. Yeah. It's going to be hard because Classic is, of course, the reigning Star League champion. But if Lucira goes through, man, it's a dream come true for him.
Yeah, it would be crazy. I mean, we've already seen some upsets this weekend. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to day 3 of the Intel Extreme Masters Season 10 in Shenzhen. We return tomorrow, same time, same place. And tomorrow, it's Championship Sunday, bracket stage. Every match, there's an elimination and one player getting closer to that trophy and a spot at the World Championship in Katowice. Don't miss it. We'll see you guys tomorrow.